That was a awesome rivalry week, Kevin. Good Lord.
Yeah, Hokies could have done a little better, but whatever.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that too much. Hey, we got James Franklin. Apparently, he was at the game, and apparently, he was doing some more scouting, recruiting, and stuff at the game. So I'm happy to hear it. Happy to hear it. What's the?
24th ranked recruiting class right now per
Hmm.
ESPN. We were 100 and something back before
Oh,
this ranking higher. So,
well, I mean, that's what 17 players coming from Penn State will do for you. Kev, I want to talk about this picture real quick before we get into the slate. I didn't even do the title card here yet. Okay, welcome to the Run the Seam show, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Week 15, aka championship games, because there's only what 9 games. Yeah, 9 games that are happening this week. We're going to be kind of talking about all of them, at least the ones that really, really matter. But for right now, I want to talk about this whole thing with Michigan last week when they were protecting the logo. Baby soft.
yeah, and I mean, kind of props Ryan Day was he or I don't even think it was him, but it was people on his coaching staff were turning the players away. Like, let's go celebrate
Right.
in the locker room, ball celebrate with like you got you
Dude,
here.
yeah,
It was a proud showing for Ohio State, I think.
it was. And then, you had Ryan Day just big boying Sharon Moore when he goes up to him and he's like, "You need to get your guys into the locker room." Like, just like it
Yeah, well,
was.
also Ryan Day's headset went out. Did you hear about that? Like in
No, I
the
didn't.
maybe midway through the third quarter, um, their comms went dark. They didn't, and
Damn.
I don't believe it was affecting Michigan. So it was just they had no communication from the box to the sideline for the second, at least like the whole fourth quarter. I think some of the third quarter too. Makes sense why Ryan Day was a little frustrated. But one thing I want to ask you, Tyler, do you think you look back to last year, Ohio State's
Uh,
national championship run? How much
uh,
credit do you give the fire that was lit under them after losing to Michigan last year? Do you think that it's weird to say, but do you think it'll be an issue for Ohio State going into this postseason that they've, relatively unchallenged?
my only response, or the only counterpoint I would have is in 23, Michigan won the rivalry game and the championship.
True. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah. So they got to set the clock back to zero. And that's, I mean, look, Ohio State in that game, it was so funny watching Michigan go up 6-0 to start the game. I'm like thinking to myself, oh God, it's happening again. Oh God, not again. But then, yeah, for the rest of the game, Bo Jackson, man, that kid just went off. It was beautiful to watch. But yeah, no, it was a great game. I mean, at least from the Ohio State side, I think that Michigan definitely needs to do some rebuilding now. I think Sharon Moore is not probably on the hot seat quite yet, but one more season, maybe he'll
Yeah.
get there. You know what I mean? And he's
I think
still good.
I think Michigan is the type of school that has the budget to be a perennial college football playoff team. I think that's
Of
their
course.
expectation. So yeah, Sharon Moore, I think he needs 10 wins next season.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see what their, I mean, I guess their schedule's already out, but I think a lot of that will depend on what their Big Ten slate looks like. They'll have
And
Ohio
look,
State. Do they have Oregon? Do they have Indiana? Like, we'll see.
And look, Bryce Underwood, like he's developed, he has, and he's going to be there. He's got the $3 million annual contract. $12 million is going to be spent on this kid. Make it count, you know what I mean? And if there's going to be a school that's going to quickly adapt to NIL, it's going to be a school that whose alumni is one of the richest people on planet Earth. So, yeah. Okay, Kev. Before we get into the game discussions, I have 3 main points, storylines that I kind of want to go over. First. These people need a reality TV show at this point. I had the inspiration to put this all together after I saw videos on X, formerly Twitter, of Diego Pavia's brother got arrested for underage drinking, drunk and disorderly. This, I didn't even realize this. Apparently, him and the third brother got arrested at another game earlier in the season. That's why you can see that headline says again. So, and I also started to do some more digging into just like the Diego Pavia storyline. Obviously, you got his mom who's doing her thing, twerking on the railings at the half of the games. You got the Tate McRae rumors, and then Diego Pavia's career here started by him winning a lawsuit against the NCAA allowing him to have another year of eligibility. Tie in Theo Vaughn potentially dating Diego Pavia's mom, and he's been going out to dinner with like all the people in that Theo Vaughn verse, like Glennie Balls and Ayla Presley. Now you got that connection, a reality show. You can bring in guys like Hezbollah and the Rizzler and stuff like that. This could be the most chaotic thing. Look, Diego, if you want to go to the draft after this year, okay. I think you could get more money going with the reality show with your family. I genuinely believe that at this point.
Yeah, and so I believe the Theo Vaughn is not going on a date with his mom because the deal was Theo had to get him that date with Tate McRae, and he could not do it. She did not respond.
But they've been like milking it, and like he's been hanging out with Theo Vaughn like every weekend almost. And I like look, this looks like they're hanging out in like a college style apartment, like the mom and Theo with Diego. Like I just want to be a fly on the wall, like, and you can tell like his brothers are like the violent type of drunks too, just based on like them getting arrested all the time.
I'm also still not sure that that brother in the picture is a different person than Diego. I mean,
Yeah,
they
who
be
knows?
just,
They all
just
look the
switch
exact
places.
same.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they all got good ball skills.
I want to clarify what I just said about them all looking the same. It's because the brothers are very identical. Those three specific brothers look the same. Don't misconstrue anything I said. Okay.
Are they
All right.
triplets or? Can
I
just
I don't know actually. Kev, say something while I look that up.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Tyler has been known to. He kind of gets confused. Like he can't tell different ethnic groups apart.
No. Okay.
However,
why are we doing this? No. Okay.
I'm looking at both of those pictures, and my guess is there's at least one set of twins amongst the three. Let's see what we got.
Brothers does. I'm getting Grok and Gemini involved. Okay,
Is this
here we
true,
go.
Grok?
Hey, Grok, I need context. No, both of them are older, okay, by a decent mark. Wait a minute. Oh, I guess it wasn't underage drinking. I guess it was just public intoxication. Yeah, one's 26 and one's 25. Okay, so that's a significantly worse look that they're the older brothers riding the coattails of his success. But whatever, to each their own. And Kev, do you have anything else on this brief storyline before I go to the next point?
Nope.
Okay. Googly, good lordy moogly. The group of five has produced some great programs this year. We have had them being ranked in the carousel the whole year. And, all five of these teams have had stellar seasons. And you know what the Power Four did? They came in and they just took them all. You know what I mean? So, Kev, if you don't mind, I would like to just take a moment to briefly touch on each of these guys' profiles here, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, John Sumrall. Okay. One thing, I was looking up articles earlier. Steve Spurrier does give him the stamp of approval to be down there. So that was one thing when he came down. Both him and Urban Meyer were both, saying that it was a good hire and that he's going to be a good fit. However, the fan base is not in agreement. We all know who they wanted. The man that we're going to be talking about in a second, who shall not be named. Okay, but looking at Napier and Mr. Sumrall here, they have eerily similar pre-Florida experiences. Napier had 4 years at University of Louisiana, now Louisiana State, and Sumrall had 2 years at Troy, on to 2 years at Tulane, so they both had 4 years in the group of five as head coaches. During his time at University of Louisiana, Napier went 40-12, 27-5 in conference. Sumrall 42-11, 28-4 in conference. And both of them got 2 Sun Belt titles. So that's just one thing. I mean, pretty cool. Sumrall does have a lot of experience in the SEC. He spent 2 seasons in Kentucky as a linebackers coach and a co-defensive coordinator, and he was also at Ole Miss as a linebackers coach. So I do like that hire. I need to see how many people he's going to bring from Tulane. I think there's going to be a lot of those guys that transfer over, especially with the season they've had, who can make it competitive, but we'll see. Bob Chesney. First thing I want to say here, Kev, I think it's pretty fitting that out of this carousel that I'm looking at, the one guy from the Sun Belt who went to the one guy here who was in the Sun Belt went to the ACC. Wait, I'm sorry, Big Ten. My bad. I had it in my mind as ACC. My brain is farting. Yes, no. Okay. We had Mr. Bob Chesney here. Shout out. He's a central Pennsylvania guy. Did you know that? Small town, Shamokin. Same town that my stepdad is from. Fun fact.
Well, I knew he was from Pennsylvania. I didn't know
Yeah.
he was boys with your stepdad.
Yeah. You know, JMU did give him a wild offer to try to get him to stay. He would have been the most lucrative coach in the Sun Belt by far if he had decided to accept their offer, but here we are. He ripped through the ladder real quick, man. His resume is nothing compared to these other guys. You want to hear it?
Go for it. I know this is only 2 seasons at JMU, 20-5 record.
Right. Before that, he was at Holy Cross from 2018 to 2023, and before that, Assumption College from 2013 to 2017. I don't even know what that is.
Well, you know what they say about assuming makes an ass out of you and me. Assumption College. Yeah, I'm also while we're on Bob Chesney, earlier in the season, and one of our maybe week 5, 6, 7 shows when we were talking about the coaching vacancies at the time. Yeah, I see you smiling. But I mentioned how Virginia Tech was a better offer than UCLA. Like that was going to be a more attractive coaching position, and I think this was one of the few things I was right about all year, just because UCLA is placed so far from their campus. And yeah, if you also notice of all these coaches where they're going, this is the one who's leaving their geographic area far behind. I mean, the other ones are almost fit like gloves. You know, Memphis to Arkansas, North Texas to Oklahoma State. I guess Tulane.
That's
maybe.
no. Look. I mean, Tulane to Florida is not like an easy drive. Don't get anybody wrong.
Auburn, but
I
they're
mean,
still at least in the
Florida.
same region. This was an interesting hire for UCLA. They're definitely taking a chance. You got to wonder how much of Kurt Signetti's just essence is the reason why
Still,
they want
they
want the next best thing.
And we have to keep in mind, I mean, looking at the other 4 guys on there, they're taking people with them. You know, there's not a doubt in my mind. It's going to be tougher to do the JMU to UCLA pipeline. Like, that's just, it's not going to be like he can take all of his players on a whim and be like, hey, come follow me. Nah, it's going out from, the mid-Atlantic to the West Coast. Very different atmospheres, very different style of play, very different styles of how they're going to be, handling the competition. So, yeah, I don't know how that one's going to work out. It is a gamble, like you said. Now, moving on to Mr. Ryan Silverfield. Or wait, no, I'm sorry. Eric Morris is the next one. One thing I will say, this guy, I did not realize his storied past with Texas Tech. He was a player for them under Mike Leach back in the day. He was a wide receiver. He was known for being the small and elusive guy. And yeah, he's a pretty tiny boy, don't get me wrong. And he did coach at Texas Tech as a co-OC in 2014, and he had 6 seasons as the offensive coordinator from 2015 to 21. So, I mean, right now, Texas Tech ain't changing their coaching status up, but if it ever gets to that point, this guy's going to be at the front of the list. UNT also has already replaced Morris with Neil Brown. Did you know that?
No, it's so effective immediately, or is
I don't know about effect. Well, I mean, I
sorry.
don't think West Virginia, did they get a bowl game? I don't think they did. I'd have to check. I don't know. But either way, I mean, it would only be for a bowl game. Who knows? But he did.
Sorry.
What?
North Texas is going to the. Are you saying North Texas is just getting a bowl game?
No. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I was thinking West Virginia. My bad. No, North Texas. Okay, yeah. Obviously, North Texas is getting a bowl game. But no. And this is going to be what also sets these guys apart from the next slide. All 5 of these guys are good to coach out the rest of the season. Put a pin in that. Everybody who follows college football knows where we're going next. Okay, now we get on to Ryan Silverfield. The guy from Memphis, now going to Arkansas. Kev, what sets him apart from the rest of these guys?
Hasn't he been at Memphis for like 8 years now? Like,
Yeah, no, he has climbed the ladder for a while. He's been there since 2016. Started as the offensive line coach. He was the run game coordinator and offensive line coach in 17 to 18. Then he was the assistant head coach and run game coordinator and offensive line coach in 2019, and then the head coach from 2020 to 25. How can somebody be all three of those at once? I don't understand. Somebody's going to have to show me an organization chart for football coaching at one of these days. But no, that's actually not what sets him apart. What sets him apart from all these other guys? The only one with big league experience. Yeah, he's had time where he was on the Vikings and the Lions staff. So that's one thing to note there. I think this is a really good hire. I like it. I also think that out of all these programs that he's going to, well, Oklahoma State's got a pretty dog shit program to be picked out of the ashes, but Arkansas is arguably the one that's going to have the lowest expectations going into it. They're like James Franklin coming into Virginia Tech right now, where it's just like, if he can go in there and get them an above 500 season, he's probably going to keep the job for at least 3 years. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great hire. I think it'll allow him to spread his wings a little bit, see who he can bring with him. It's pretty funny, though. A lot of beat writers were saying that Silverfield was a panic hire because Arkansas really wanted Franklin and Golesh to come. And after they both got picked up, then right after that, Silverfield was brought on. Okay.
in terms of a panic hire, that's a pretty good get for Arkansas. So, but yes,
It is. It is. And the last guy, John Golesh, I learned today that he was born in Moscow and he spent the first 7 years of his life in the Soviet Union before it collapsed. So I think he's a KGB agent. Moving on to other things, I do love this move, man. And from the beginning of this season, you and I have both been on USF. I think it's going to be a good culture fit for him. He does have that SEC experience because he was under Heupel in Tennessee as the offensive coordinator for 2 years. Yeah, exactly. But the one thing that's pretty funny about this is they really wanted Sumrall in Auburn. And there were reports that Auburn, before I go into the reports, Auburn was offering him the same amount of pay and better incentive structures. But he still went with Florida. Why? He was turned off after hearing reports and just rumors about how the boosters are going to just try to control it so much at Auburn, and how there are literally people on the staff whose jobs are secretly to report back to the boosters. Again, not confirmed. It's just what soured Sumrall from taking the job. So, that being said, Golesh comes in with a great record with what he has done for that program in USF. It's going to be his first time coaching in the SEC in a program that, frankly, has fallen completely off ever since the Cam Newton era. Sure, they've gotten bowl games here and there. What? Contest me.
When was the kick six? Wasn't that post Cam Newton?
I don't remember.
That was,
okay. But one other positive there for the Auburn faithful is that they have said that they are going to keep on DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator who has been acting as the interim head coach. And a lot of people were, and I put air quotes here, happy after the Bama game because they had a good quote-unquote loss where they kept it 20-27 last week. Again, a lot of people were thinking Auburn was going to spoil Alabama's season some way, somehow. I think they realistically got as close as they possibly could have given the circumstances. Kev, anything else?
Just for a team with an interim coach to put that comeback on, because they were down, 17-3 in the second half, and they come back, they tie it up. Obviously you want to get that win and spoil things for your rivals. That's what I was hoping the Hokies were going to do this weekend. But
right.
I'd like to be hired by Auburn. I think also Auburn, while they might have, I guess Sumrall had some concerns with the fans and then just the apparatus for boosters, they have a passionate fan base. So, if you can perform well, if you can get some hype, you're gonna be loved there. And so yeah, I do like this hire. I've heard
Me too.
Polish is like an offensive mastermind. I think
Oh,
that
big
would
time.
pair well because yeah, Auburn's defense has been solid through an up and down season. They've been rather consistent. Yeah,
I agree. All right. Kev, anything else?
drum roll.
Who is more prone to headlines this season than Diego Pavia, Kevin? But oh, the dog, he is back at it. Oh, it's like we're back at the Florida Atlantic when he left them. It's like we're back when Saban fired him. It's just so much going on here. Okay, I'm going to just rapid fire click. We all know that Lane Kiffin had the weirdest departure from Ole Miss that involved, him personally attacking Keith Carter, the athletic director. The whole timeline of the college coaching carousel makes no sense. There have been a lot of people critiquing that, but let's go through some headlines. Okay, first and foremost, the guy who is giving his daughter the business in Mr. Whit Weeks decided to enter the transfer portal almost immediately when Lane took the job.
I missed that. That's
Yep.
interesting. I wonder
Yeah.
if Lane told him to get packing or if
I don't know, but on to the next one because this keeps getting better. They threw the man's clothes out on the street after he left. That's how much these people hated him. And to keep going on that thread, even the players hated him because they retweeted Lane's goodbye message and said that this is a lie. Nobody in that locker room cared or was sorry that you weren't going to be coaching anymore. Going through that, the hatred was reciprocated when Lane is making up stories about that there are residents in Ole Miss who are trying to run him off the road while he's leaving Oxford for the LSU coaching job. Keeping that going, we got guys across sports who are weighing in on this, with Mr. Rick Pitino saying that he kind of sides with Lane Kiffin, and the whole timeline of the college coaching decisions make zero sense whatsoever. Bring on in the guy who wrote the beat writer for Ole Miss, who called Lane a hoe last week. And after the game, Lane literally confronted the guy and was about to damn slap him if it wasn't for a Mississippi State trooper being right next to him. And following that, you got 17, not 17, I'm thinking of the Penn State. You got 8 coaches who have already agreed to follow Lane, and the Ole Miss faithful were waiting for them at the airport, including offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss. I don't know if you saw that video, Kev. When they realized who they were seeing, they had babies they were holding at the airport, flipping him the bird. People were screaming, "F you, Charlie!" All this. Oh my God, they were all so hated. Now we got Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator, who's not just the interim head coach, they're sticking with him. That's what they said. He's going to be the coach next year. That's what the AD, Keith Carter, said. His speech about going into the playoff, the most milk dud thing I have ever heard in my life. He goes up there. I thought he had a lip of tobacco in, and he goes, "Well, we're just going to go in there, take care of business. We were good all season. Just keep it going." And then that was it. Nothing burger. And on top of all this jackass abandoned his dog who he has been milking for social media clicks all season. My God, what a media firestorm.
What a good summary. Just a few things to note. So that Ole Mississippi State it was Mississippi State beat reporter or Ole Miss beat reporter?
No, it's an Ole Miss beat
Ole Miss
reporter.
beat reporter.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
You can't
The
make a
same
hoe
guy
out
who
of a
actually
housewife,
tweeted.
right?
Yeah, hold on one
That
second.
was what he said. He said you can't make a hoe out of a housewife. And
Yeah, it's the same dude who tweeted out the clothes. Yeah, that dude is the same guy.
people
Yeah.
have been clowning him for not standing up for himself, but what are you supposed to do there? Your job, you're not allowed to. He couldn't just tell off Lane Kiffin. There were 4 state troopers behind him.
Yeah, also, you're a beat right. Okay, my other thing, Lane, that's the job of these guys. They're supposed to get clicks. You can't take, you cannot take that personally. I know it's Lane Kiffin and he, in a weird way, takes everything personally. Did you see the interview of him at the airport as he was leaving?
Yes.
It was so awkward. He was trying to say like, yeah, it's tough, and like making it seem like it was all peaches and roses. It was not. Keith Carter hates Lane Kiffin, hates him, and there's just so many layers to this. And the other thing I want to note, I did some digging into what timelines there are for players to enter transfer portals. Okay, so we know that there's the like standard window that starts at the beginning of January, essentially. There's also the extended window that's if they're playing in a championship, they get the extra 4 days at the end of January. You know what else they get, Kev? There's a 15-day period after a coach has left and they have hired a new coach. They hired a new coach. I don't think any Ole Miss player is going to leave before they play. But my God, how amazing would that be? I just so nobody thinks I'm a complete idiot. I don't think that any of the Rebels are going to leave before they play for the CFP and everything. But how funny would it be if they did?
There might be some. I mean, there could be some, and it sucks for Ole Miss fans. Like
It really does.
In a lot of ways. Yeah, I just have a few things I'd like to share on Lane Kiffin. So this is from Lil Wayne's verse in 2009. He said, and excuse my language here, he said, "Smoke weed, talk shit like Lane Kiffin. Whole country in recession, but Wayne different." So this was in 2009. So this was referring to Lane's 2008 to 2009 stint as the Tennessee head coach. Do you know what his last game was at Tennessee before he left for USC?
Hit me.
Peach Bowl game against the Hokies. Hokies won 37-14. But you do have to wonder, I mean, this leaves obviously Ole Miss is in almost just as bad a position as some of these Power 5 schools who are losing their coach. They still are Ole Miss. They still have the network. They still have the SEC. Like, they will be back, but this is a huge setback. They don't know who their next coach is going to be next year. Do we have anything on Penn State?
Oh, Penn State?
Yeah, while we're talking about schools without a coach, I did do some.
The only rumor that I heard like a couple weeks back was that they were actually interviewing Sam Pittman, which doesn't make any sense. I mean,
well, allow me to just fill you in. Yeah, you haven't heard about the crumble cookie tie-in to all of this, the Penn State?
Good Lord, no, but hit me.
Right. So Penn State's top target, their dream target, and up until the weekend, he was an 80% on the prediction markets as being the next Penn State head coach. So almost a done deal. BYU's Kalani Sitake. I believe I'm saying that right. So
you know what? No, I did hear that. I did hear that.
That was apparently Penn State's big move. That was their play. However, about 20 hours ago, Sitake signed an extension with BYU. It's going to be getting about over $9 million a year, an extra 10 to 15 mil in the NIL budget, and this all happened because Crumble Cookie. Oh no, my notes didn't print all the way. Crumble Cookie CEO.
Just give the spark notes.
Josh McGowan, I think was his name. But anyway, he said it's time for him to get off the sideline and make something happen. Some people are not replaceable. McGowan also is the one who paid the field storming fine against Utah State the other week. Min Kim is the person who owns Nutricost, a big protein and supplement company. He's also throwing some bones in the mix. It's National Signing Day today as we're recording. Penn State still doesn't have a head coach. They're currently sitting at 140th in the recruiting class rankings. Northern Iowa, UC Davis, and Cal Poly all ahead of them. I think Harvard as well. Shout out to the YouTube channel Ev Hand. He makes great videos. That's where I saw that.
Shout out.
The last thing I'll say, right now, I believe the odds-on favorite to be the next Penn State head coach is not Pittman, not Sitake, Brian Dabble. I believe he's sitting around 40% because Matt Rule, Eli Drinkowitz, and then Clark Lee all signed contract extensions. The Penn State AD, Pat Kraft, is in hot water right now amongst the fans and the community at Penn State. So just wanted to throw that in because I think that's going on.
I could see that.
Very funny story.
Yeah. No, I could see Dable. I could, and you know, the whole they throw crumble cookies in there. All Dable's going to hear is cookies, and then he's just going to sign right up. Yeah. All right. Let's talk some games we got this week.
30 minutes in, let's get to some games, baby.
Yeah, let's get to some football. Folks, we're going to go through these games a little bit quicker because we got 6 games that we want to talk about because wildly enough, 6 of these games, all 6 have the playoff implications. So we want to get into that. Kev, you got it? Oh, wait, no. One thing I want to say. Folks, if you look at our records, me and Kev look like very bad gambling men. However, because me and Kev are such men of integrity and honor, all season we have been counting our vibe check parlays, which are 3 picks that all need to get right as a singular pick on that record. Okay? So I did some math. That looks my 44% turns into 49% if you take those vibe check parlays away, and I believe Kev gets more closer to 48%. So you know what? While the rest of you are like, we're all bozos, you know what? Fine. We're bozos with integrity. That's what we are.
Yes. Thank
All
you,
right.
Tyler. Yes.
All right. Let's talk about this Sun Belt Championships, which on paper does not look that exciting, Kev. One thing that I loved that I saw that was a quote from one of the beat writers was the Dukes are going to be the biggest fans of Duke. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, the whole story circulating around this game is obviously the fact that JMU gets in, essentially, with a win, obviously, and Duke winning the ACC championship. We're going to talk about that game in a little bit. Bob Chesney, we already talked about. He's heading to UCLA. He's a lame duck head coach. If JMU does win and get into the playoffs, they need to lock down the penalties. I looked up their stats. They're like 120th like in the country for how bad they are with penalty times. That's not going to fly if you want to have any hope of getting past that first round. And hold on, I had to pull it up for myself. Wait, did I pull it up, the CFP? I did, but let me go back
I'll just
and
chime in
check.
on that. They also need to get better in the turnover department. They actually have a negative turnover margin on the season. They force 1 takeaway a game, but they give it away 1.1 times per game. So,
Right.
yeah, penalties and turnovers are a great way for a good team like JMU to end up getting stomped by like an Ole Miss or an Oklahoma.
Yep.
I think even though lame duck, I don't know if I'd call it lame duck. I do think JMU players and their coaching staff, they have a lot to push for. This
They
could,
do.
Bob Chesney, he's 48 years old. He looks 39. He looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's not like a grizzled vet like Lane Kiffin who can be callous to a whole university and team. Like, I think he's going to give it his all in this game.
Right.
And then if they do sneak in the college football playoffs, I don't think he's going to have one foot out the door at all. The one thing I'll note about Troy, this was the team that almost upset Clemson in that Hurricane game earlier this season, if you'll remember.
I do. Yeah. That would
Yeah.
have been hilarious. My good Lord. The one other thing I wanted to, kind of my food for thought here, Kev. Right now, the Sun Belt is one of those conferences that still sticks with the winner of the East versus winner of the West kind of deal. Looking at the spread of this championship game, they need to reevaluate it. I'm sorry. This game should be JMU versus Old Dominion based on the season that Old Dominion had, because that would have made for a better game. Now, that being said, last week, Troy did upset Southern Miss. They were a touchdown underdog and won by 10 and outgained the Golden Eagles by 124 yards. And their QB, Goose Crowder, elite name, came back from an injury in mid-November, struggled against ODU, again, arguably the second best, not arguably, on paper, the second best team in the Sun Belt, but ended strong, going 7 touchdowns and 646 passing yards in the final 2 games of the season. Okay, I'm going to get to the picks here because I think we're both on the same boat, potentially. Oh, no, we're not.
And I would just like to add one thing that Old Dominion and Troy are both 6-2 in the conference, so I don't know how tiebreakers would work in a merged format, but there is a chance that if there were no
ODU has a
divisions
much more impressive resume, though, I think,
yeah,
when you look at the
I
games they
think I
played.
guess it would come down to head to head. So I guess
Right.
ODU did beat Troy, but it's not that far off. I would like to talk about my pick. Um, just so I think the over is what we aligned on, and that makes a lot of sense. My
It does.
over and then picking Troy is a little bit of a handicap for myself because so assuming JMU covers, right? Troy would have to
Right.
get under 14 points for that over not to hit. So I
Right.
do think I think they're going to be able to put some points up. Troy's averaging over 20 points a game in their last five. Two of those last five games were against ODU and Arkansas State, where they scored 0 points and 10 points. So even with those two games in the last five, they're averaging over 20 a game. JMU's last five opponents are averaging about 15 per game,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's why I have the over. I think
Okay.
Troy's a team that was able to compete with Clemson when Clemson hadn't quite fallen from
That
grace, and I think even though I just said JMU won't have like lingering questions and a foot out the door syndrome, they might to an extent where they're not going to win by more than 21 points is kind of where my head is. But you picked JMU to cover. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, and look, here's one thing I'm going to say. JMU has won all of their conference game by an average of more than 27 points per game. That being said, my head just comes down to this is JMU needs to they need to hope for Duke, but they also need to do like their last statement on the season to kind of show how much they belong in the CFP in order to help their resume out. So in that sense, I think this game means more for the Dukes. I think just personally knowing all the people who are JMU fans, I think that they're more of a football school program than Troy is. So yeah, I like JMU to cover handedly. I think they might end up blowing them out, and then they're going to be watching that. They're going to sit back, enjoy it for maybe about an hour before the next day they're sitting on their couches, chittering their teeth like this,
Yeah,
watching the
they got a full
ACC championship.
28 hour or 24 hours because UVA
Right.
do play the next night. Yeah, and the only
Yeah,
other
that's
thing
right.
I'll note on this game, it is a home game for JMU. So
That's
it's a
true.
home game
Yeah.
here, and they have
It is.
played better at home.
Yeah.
So
All right, folks. We're going to go on the next video, but if you're watching just the snipped out solo video, remember to like and subscribe. We are ending the football season here, obviously, with bowl games and the playoffs being the only things between us and complete oblivion. But we got college basketball coming up, so me and Kev are going to be talking about that a lot as the season heats up. We'd love to get you guys on board to talk about it more. Remember to like and subscribe and to follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into this awesome American Conference Championship game, man. This is going to be a fun one. One thing I want to note, this will be the greatest victory and achievement in the University of North Texas's history. Don't fact check me on that. Yeah, the winner of this game is essentially in the playoffs. That's what it. Well, not essentially. They are in the playoffs.
so
Is
there's
what it
no
comes down
way
to.
that like say this game is like a 7-6 dud, and then
That's
JMU wins
fair.
100-0. Could
I
they pull
think
that
they
off?
could. I think they could. I don't know what goes on the committee guys' heads, but in that scenario, that goes back to the previous point I had about why JMU would be incentivized to maybe beat the ever loving breaks out of Troy to maybe give themselves a
Yeah,
leg up in that scenario. I love this mascot matchup, by the way. Mean Green versus the Green Wave.
Green Wave.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, North Texas has the Willies when they played Tulane. They're looking to snap an 0-3 losing streak against them. Yeah, Kev, hit me with some points.
Okay. So I'm going to start with a stat that doesn't matter whatsoever, but Tyler is aware. I'm a big NCAA football 2005 fan. The first year they
Absolutely.
introduced the dynasty, so I think they got it perfect that time. Anyway, I will say with the Virginia Tech Hokies, I have completed two full dynasties over the last 20 years. So that goes, you play 60 seasons, then they force you to retire.
Hmm.
And one thing that always happens is North Texas and Rice establish themselves as perennial top five teams because they are in Texas and the recruiting is very much geographic based in the 2005 dynasty. So when I see North Texas, I think of all of the years them being an elite team in my little GameCube universe, and they do it on the ground. They're a team that will run for 300 yards and pass three times a game in NCAA football 2005. That doesn't have any relevance to this, but just want to explain where my head is.
Hmm.
Another thing, North Texas in real life, they play very clean football. 42
Yeah.
penalty yards per game. Tulane, on the other hand, 67 per game. Takeaways, let's see, Tulane only generates 1.6 takeaways per game. North Texas is coming in 2.1 turnovers forced a game. They both take care of the ball. North Texas opposing kickers have not missed a field goal all season on the mean green. It's been a very nice green for the kickers. The only other thing I'm going to note, because we covered the Memphis Tulane game a few weeks ago, I went back, checked my notes from that game, just my stats where Tulane sat. And one thing that's interesting is Tulane's offense has ran the ball a lot more since then, but
Yep.
they improved their passing production. So that means they're passing less but more efficiently. That kind of
Yep.
makes sense with Retzlaff.
Being the
He's a
mobile Russian
I think
quarterback, yeah.
is he a senior?
I would have to
I
imagine
don't remember.
I think he is because obviously he transferred out of BYU last year, as we
Yeah,
both
so it
know.
might be, but anyway, he is really maturing well. The only thing defense wise, also Tulane has been so when they played Memphis, their opponents were rushing the ball 55% of the time. In just a few games, that stat from the season is now all the way down to 48%, meaning their last three or four games since they played Memphis in Week 11 have been against pass heavy teams. So their defense, and the reason I bring this all up, North Texas, despite my NCAA 2005 dynasty, they are a pass heavy team, a prolific passing team. Tulane, I think, is going to, if they're going to have a chance, they're going to have to shut down that passing attack. Not even shut it
Yeah.
down. They're just going to have to dull it, I think.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, Kev, it's like you said, credit to North Texas's team. I mean, right now they're leading the nation in points per game at 46.8. And that QB, Drew Messmaker, is leading the nation with passing yards at 3,835. So to your point, I think where our heads are in the same place. They just got to shut down that passing game early on. They're going to have to be aggressive, especially in the trenches. I do think that Jake Retzlaff, despite what you said about him, starting to throw the ball a little bit better in the second half of the season, he has a favorable matchup when you look at the rush defense at UNT when they're allowed 224.2 rush yards per game. That puts them at number 133 in the country. Now, I don't know if that's going to play out the same or if Retzlaff's going to maybe try to hand off the ball. All I'm saying is during those run pass options, he does have a little bit more breathing room to maybe go those up the gut routes and just do the Thanos fine, I'll do it myself kind of mentality. That being said, Kev, one other thing I wanted to say is Tulane will be the first team in American history to play in four consecutive title games, although I will say they only won in 2022.
Well, they got the experience there. That's actually fascinating. Five. Yeah, I mean, I guess really conference titles came around what in like the early 2000s. So
Right, right, right.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
picks?
that's an interesting stat. Yeah, get to the picks.
Yeah, we're on the.
And yeah, I ended up switching up on you. I was North Texas, but one thing I will say, the Green Wave Sports subreddit, their subreddit moderators, very, very kind to me, very nice to me.
Yeah, and
They asked,
I'm gonna switch this. I don't know why I took North Texas. I went Tulane.
dang, what a
Yeah.
twist. And yeah, the whole, aside from their moderators being nice, the main reason is I watched that entire Tulane Memphis game, and there were points in that game where no matter what Memphis threw at them, they could not stop Tulane's offense. At best, your DBs they lock down and there's no open receivers, but still 50% chance that Retzlaff is going to be able to run
Yep.
for the first down. It was methodical watching him go down the field against a team Memphis that I was very high on at the time. So yeah, it's a close game. I
Yeah.
like Tulane.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of a little bit of a vibe pick because I think Tulane having the home field advantage here. They might have a weather advantage too. It looks like it's going to rain, which is something they're probably a lot more used to down there in the swamp. And on top of that, like they're just a more proven championship team. Like they know how to handle this kind of scenario a lot better. That being said, I do also think that the Tulane guys, knowing that Summerall is leaving, and the Tulane faithful are going to be going hard because this is his last home game of what's been a pretty good tenure for the Tulane football program. So, yeah,
and
give me.
sorry, the stakes could not be higher. It's win and in essentially for both these teams. Both teams
Exactly.
about to lose their coach.
Yeah.
This is kind of
This is
this
a
game
great
could be
stamp for a G5 program. And, like, talk about, like, going out on great terms for either Eric Morris or John Summerall to shake hands with the AD. Even if they go out the first round, it's coveted to even get in the CFP
and
if you're a group of five.
you will have the entire country save the state of the team you're playing on your side rooting for you.
Oh yeah,
You know,
especially because looking at the way this is going to pan out, guess who these guys are most likely going to be playing?
dude, if Tulane plays Ole Miss, that would be wild because they
That
already
would be
played
so
Ole Miss.
wild.
Is that what it's looking like would
It's
happen?
what? Well, okay, so
I know there's some
let's play scenario magic here, okay? JMU wins handedly and Duke wins. JMU is in, okay? Then Tulane and North Texas would be playing Ole Miss. Now let's say that UVA wins in that conversation. Then UVA is going to be playing whatchamacallit, Ole Miss, and the winner of this game would be playing Oregon. So I gotta say though, that's another. These guys are probably rooting for Duke then too, because they probably want to play at Ole Miss more than they want to go to play in Oregon for the game.
yeah. Well,
All right.
I'm very excited for this game, but I guess we move on to the next one into the
Oh wait,
Power Four.
before we do that, if you're watching just this video, yeah, we're getting into being professional now. If you're watching just this video, not the elongated version, remember to like and subscribe. We're so happy to everybody and so grateful to everybody that tunes in every week to listen to our two idiotic amateur inputs on these games. We love doing it and we want to continue to do it. Comment whatever teams you want us to talk about when the college basketball season comes around. Me and Kev are both very excited for that. Now let's get into some Power Four champions, starting with a awesome Big 12 championship game. Texas Tech, one of the biggest programs of this season, currently ranked number 4, going to be hosting BYU. Or wait, no, I'm sorry. They're not. Well, they might as well be hosting. It's going to be in Arlington, Texas. And BYU is coming to town for a rematch of a game that went pretty ugly for the Cougars back there in Week 11.
I want to jump in real quick in case
Go.
a Texas Tech fan just joined and heard us say that it's a home game. I know Arlington is about 3.5 hours from Lubbock. I learned
It's
that
closer than Utah. It's closer than
when
Utah.
I was doing my recon. Remember, I was in the Dallas airport flying to Phoenix for a wedding the same day that Texas Tech was going down to play Arizona State. Texas Tech fans, I also will not be traveling to Phoenix, so you do not have to worry about me jinxing your team again. Sorry, just wanted to get that in.
That's beautiful.
Get that
Okay,
out of the way.
good way to set the vibe early on. Now look here, Texas Tech is a monster against the spread this season, 10-2 straight up against the spread. They 42 points or more in the 4 of their last 5 games. I'm just going to name points that I've written down at this point. LJ Martin's run game is a terrible matchup with Tech's rush defense. They allow 68.9 rush yards allowed per game. They stuff that pocket when guys are running in. Now, this is a very generic take that I had when I was, going back through and watching tape a little bit. This is BYU's potential biggest strength in this game will be keeping a slow offensive pace and giving their defense time to breathe. They are 109th in tempo when it comes to their offensive play. So I think if they stick to that very methodical and chippy play, like I've been saying all season, that's the key to getting these, mismatched wins. That's what they're going to have to do. Jacob Rodriguez, Mr. Heisman hopeful from Texas Tech, he's going to show out big in this game too. So that offensive, or I'm sorry, the wide receivers are going to have their hands full with BYU.
Yeah, I believe he got a pick in the first matchup.
He did. He did. You want to hear some stats on Jacob Rodriguez?
Yeah, I
He,
was impressed in the first matchup on College Game Day. Was at first I thought they were just unnecessarily hyping him up. Then I saw the stats. Then I saw him
yeah.
play, and yeah, he's worth
I
every
still
every.
love that he went on game day during his bye week. That's amazing. And then like who was it? Was it Desmond Howard who was like just hyping him up, like saying he should be a high? Yeah, okay. No, he's fourth in the Big 12 with 8.7 tackles per game, top 11 in the CFP for tackles for loss, passes defended, and interception, and number one in the Big 12 with 7 forced fumbles. Okay, Kev, I want to have an open dialogue here. What I really need to know is what has changed since week 11.
I think first and foremost, and I will stand up for BYU here because that game, one, it's College Game Day. It was in a hostile environment. Patrick Mahomes was there, unveiling his new NIL stuff. I believe the Texas Tech team was wearing Patrick Mahomes designed jerseys for that game. There was just a lot of hype there. Watching College Game Day that morning, I was starting to feel worse and worse about my pick. But, and this was a take that you clowned me for when I made the pick in the post game, but it is going to be so crucial for BYU to prevent Texas Tech from jumping out to a big lead. They
Hey,
can't
hey,
turn the
look.
ball over. They can't, and yes, what you said was, oh, so they can't turn the ball over and they need to score more points. Like, yes, but there's numbers to back that up. Texas Tech is number one in the country in first half scoring margin. They outscore their opponents 21.3 points in the first half alone. So on average, going into halftime, they're up by 3 touchdowns. BYU, impressive in the first half, but they're only outscoring opponents by 10. 10.1. Then in the second half, BYU actually turns things up 10.9, whereas Texas Tech slows down a little bit, 10.5. But what they cannot do, what BYU cannot do, is they cannot let Texas Tech jump out to a big lead, and they cannot turn the ball over. They were doing a good job of that in the first matchup, but they muffed a punt after stuffing Texas Tech, stopping their drives early. I think on the first 2 or 3 drives of the game for Texas Tech, all of a sudden they muff a punt, Texas Tech scores a touchdown. And when I say
Yep.
stop a drive, I think there might have been a field goal in there. But from that first matchup, Texas Tech kicked 5 field goals. They also failed to score right before half at the 1-yard line. BYU had a goal line stand going in to halftime. So what that means, BYU, their team, is capable of stopping Texas Tech drives. They did it 6 times in the first game, held them to a field goal, kept them out of the end zone. This Texas Tech is one of the better red zone scoring teams, scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That is going to be what BYU needs to do. They need to figure out what went right in that first game, because people from the outside looking in are going to say nothing went right, but their defense did a good job. They held them to 29 points. It could have been a lot worse. 5 field goals. If you do the math, if those were touchdowns, that game is an insane blowout. So
Big time.
there's a chance. I think the BYU team, and again, I'm rambling here, but the BYU team, I think,
I
is going to rally
don't.
a little bit around their coach after he signed the extension, turned down Penn State and all that money. There, so if you ask what's different, the line's different. It was 9.5 the first
There
time.
you
Now
go.
it's 13.5.
Right.
I mean, you can click my pick to reveal it. I feel like
Yeah.
I already disclosed it, but yeah, give
And
me
then
BYU covering. I'm doing the
and
over
we're
for a similar reason to the Troy JMU game. It's a little bit of a handicap. Like I said, Texas
right.
Tech could have easily have scored 56, 59 points in that first game. That would have covered the over already. I think there's going to be more offense in this game. I talked for a while.
I'm waiting so patiently right now. Jesus
I know, dude.
Christ.
I can see your veins.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can the one right here. That's what it's the green one. Yeah, okay. I had a pretty one other thing that might have been kind of a differentiating factor for BYU that is different. LJ Martin did play in that game in the first matchup, but he was coming off of a questionable status. So that's a little bit different there. And also, though, Beren Morton is a little banged up right now. He's coming off of a soft injury. He's good to play, but that means he's going to be relying on his running game a little bit too. Also, we don't know if Chase Roberts is going to be playing for BYU, so that's going to be something that's kind of a game time decision. Kalani Sitake said he should be good to go, but no official news has come out yet. I will say this, Texas Tech, this is their first 10-win season since the 2008 Michael Crabtree era, so that's awesome for them. That's even, Patrick Mahomes didn't even do that when he was there, which is pretty cool to see. Look, BYU is putting the playoff people's heads in a pretzel right now. I think they should be ranked a little bit higher. Look, their only loss is a road loss to a team that is a juggernaut. Granted, it was a bad loss, but here's what I will say, though. I think it's going to happen again, and it's going to make the committee's lives that much better. I do think it's going to end up being a little bit of a one-sided fiasco. Again, they're traveling. The Utes, I almost said. The Cougars are traveling a little bit. So I don't see them having that much offensive production. I think they're going to try to get the run game going a little bit, but that's only going to work so much because you know who's going to be waiting in the backfield? That's right, the boy Jacob Rodriguez. I think he's going to go off this game. He's motivated to get his Heisman run in there. So, yeah, we are at odds with this one, Kev. All right, this is our – and what's the stat on when you and me are completely against each other? That's when we do the best, right?
Yeah, well –
one of us does.
Yeah, one of us will. I think in the matchup, you did pick Texas Tech to cover and the under, and you were right on both of them. I was wrong on both of them, and
I hate
frustrated.
That.
Truth be
told. Oh wait, so we just took the same picks as last time?
Yeah, we're a very stubborn group over here at Run the Seam Show.
That's pure coincidence. All I want to say. Yeah, me too.
Especially because this is going to it's going to be at noon all by itself. You know, there's going to be the two.
I have a cold
I don't feel like people aren't going to be watching the UVA Duke game as much as they're watching the Ohio State Indiana game. But this will be the feature game and this is what's going to be the appetizer for the rest of the games. And what a feast! Like this is going to be a good matchup. I think it's not going to be a blowout.
Okay, fair enough. Before we go to the next game, like I've been saying, I think this is the fourth time I said it now. If you are just watching for the single clip of this game, please remember to like and subscribe. Me and Kev love doing this. We love putting in the work and the kind of research every week for you guys. We're going to continue to do it in some way, shape, or form. One of these days, me and Kevin will figure out what that means for college basketball with the show. But yeah, remember to comment what teams you want us to cover, like and subscribe, and follow us on the Twitter. You can find all of that stuff in the description. All right, let's get to the next game. Oh, and this is another fun one. Oh, my God. The only thing I have to say, Kirby Smart has to get a monkey off his shoulder with this game. That's all it is. Like, all right, what do you got on this one, Kev?
So, okay, I do, yes, there is a huge mental block for the Bulldogs, but some people are acting like that's the only reason why the line's close and they're better. Alabama beat this team at home. They outperformed them. They did not, everyone was thinking if Alabama was going to win that game, they were going to have to pass all over them. Well, yes, they did, but they also ran for 239 rushing yards.
Right.
The Georgia rush defense is good. It's not elite. It's not top 10.
Now, Kev, one thing.
Number 7 in rushing yards allowed per game. So it is top 10. It's their rushing offense that I have my druthers with. Their rushing offense is they don't break 200 yards per game on the ground. They've had some good outings, but I think people might be thinking too much about the Auburn Alabama game and not paying enough attention to the game that happened the night before, where Georgia Tech punched them right in the mouth.
They did.
They were able to pass on this Georgia team, and
that game was so much closer.
Able to keep them in check. Did you watch that game on Friday?
Bits and pieces.
So I was watching. Georgia Tech lost 2 of their starting secondary in the first half, and that was already a banged up secondary. So the JV squad came up and held Georgia to 16 points. I think that should be concerning for a Georgia fan. Obviously, this Auburn-Alabama game was closer than expected, but Alabama was up 17-3 at one point. They ended up winning. I think, and I again gave up my point or gave up my pick a little early, as you can see. I am going again with Alabama. You know, I'm thinking I might just nix that over. Here, you
Coward.
talk, and I'm going to make a
Yeah.
decision in the next 45 seconds.
I love that. The other thing to your point about the mental block, Kev, a lot of it really had to come down to the third down conversions. This game was in week 5, granted, but Alabama went 13 at 19 on third down conversions, and Georgia was only 2 of 8 on third down conversions. Definitely a big mental block. But even though it was a run game, like you said from Bama, all season I've been saying this. Ty Simpson just has such a diverse receiving core that you really have to play zone coverage in order for it to work out, and it didn't work out at all for Georgia's defense then. Okay. One thing I will note, it was week 5. Both these QBs were still getting their feet wet a little bit. I think, Ty Simpson obviously came out on top. But since then, that's what I'm really more interested in. Who's got a better resume since week 5? It's not even close, in my opinion. I think it's Georgia. Their victories include Texas, Georgia Tech, and Ole Miss, and Alabama's had some losses since then. Okay, and Alabama.
I printed out the whole schedule so we don't make a mistake. I will do them.
Well, I know the Georgia. Yeah, who are their losses?
So,
Florida
since,
State and
Alabama and
Oklahoma.
Georgia played. Georgia beat Kentucky by 21, Auburn by 10, Ole Miss by
You're gonna
8,
just list
Florida
all
by
of them.
4, Mississippi State by 20, Texas by 25, Charlotte by 32, Georgia Tech by 7. Since Alabama played Georgia, on Alabama's end, they beat Vanderbilt by 16, Missouri on the road by 3, Tennessee at home by 17, South Carolina on the road by 7, LSU by 11, lost to Oklahoma. They beat Eastern Illinois 56-0, and then that Auburn game last week. So,
All right, I'm not going to follow you up with any more stats or just boring numbers. All I'm going to say is this: look, I think Georgia does get up for this, and I think it's just a chip on the shoulder. As we both know, Kirby Smart does tend to get up for the big game moments. This is just the one big game moment he hasn't been able to conquer. But as we have seen in this past week, a lot of trends with rivalries and stuff like that are meant to be broken. And on paper, Georgia is just the better team, and it's too close of a spread. I think that, and it's also going to be a home field advantage for Georgia. Let's be honest. It's going to be in Atlanta.
Play there last week.
Yeah, they
I don't
did.
even know if they went home after that game. They
Yeah,
might have just stayed in Atlanta.
Kirby Smart just got like a big old barn, and they're all sitting in cots or something right now. And that being said, and I took the under just because I'm going back on my gambling strategy of anytime the spread is this close, I like the under. All right.
I'm keeping the over, even though I just don't want to have to deal with remembering I changed it. So I'm gonna keep the over.
I like the
think
fact that
Alabama
we're
will
against each other this much. Right now.
One of us is going to hate the fact that we were so against each other whenever.
Or we're just going to split these two games straight down the middle. Okay. We're about to we got 2 more games to talk about, but before we get to those, if you're just watching for our coverage of Georgia and Bama, remember, guys, to like and subscribe. I know I've said this a bunch already if you're watching the full video, but I'm going to say it 2 more times anyway. We love doing these videos, and we love you guys as participating. Feel free to comment about how big of idiots we are. Me and Kev love to read those comments more because you're probably right. I cry in the mirror when that happens, and Kev just laughs, but it's okay. Just go ahead and tell us how wrong we are, what we need to do better. We love to hear that. And we're going to keep this going during the college basketball season. Can't wait for that to get started. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next game. Kev, anything else to add?
No, I don't like it. I don't laugh when people are mean to us. That does hurt.
I laugh in the video, but then when I'm done editing, I go in the mirror and I'm in the fetal position and crying. Okay, on to the next game.
Big one.
There's only one thing to talk about. I have things here to talk about with like the actual play, but the only thing here is I think Duke winning this and no ACC team going to the CFP would be amazing. All right, Kev, do we want to get into it?
about we just limit ourselves to 1 minute each?
That's fine. I'll start first then. Okay, Duke has had a weird season, man. Demolishing conference opponents and falling to teams like UConn and Tulane. The one game that I really focused in on of theirs this season was when they played Syracuse, and it was a blowout. And it was also a game where I developed immense respect for Manny Diaz when he was screaming at his players on the sidelines for some botched plays at the end of the fourth quarter, and they were up by like 3 scores at that point. So he's got that dog in him. He's a competitor. I liked it. Duke down the stretch of the season has been fairly abysmal, going 3-3 in the final 6 games and allowing 33.3 points per game. In the last matchup between these two, the Cavaliers outgained the Blue Devils by 285 yards, and in that matchup, Duke went 4 for 15 on third down conversions, and UVA went off on the pass rush, forcing 4 sacks. That being said, UVA, as we have seen this season, is not immune to screwing the pooch when playing teams they are vastly better than on paper. I'm talking about NC State and Wake Forest. And it's the ACC. Anything can happen. I don't know if that was a minute, but I'm done.
Okay. No, all good points there. And this is another rematch. UVA ran away with the game last week. I do have one little tidbit that if anybody's not feeling the line 3.5 points, they don't want to take. They might think Duke does better, but not they don't like that.
It wasn't last week. It was week 12, by the way.
Sorry, yeah, it was week 12 when they played. UVA is a first half team. Duke is a second half team by the numbers. UVA margin of victory in the first half 8.5 points, only 2 in the second half. Meanwhile, Duke's margin of victory a little over 1 point on average in the first half, but they bring it up to 5.5 in the second half. That's what you saw in their first matchup. UVA punched him in the mouth, and punched him in the mouth again. But then Duke, in the fourth quarter, they scored. They almost got it within 1 score before UVA then put the final couple punch in the mouths in there. But yeah, this is another one where if you think they're the same teams, if you think it's similar pressures, then go ahead and pick UVA to win going away with it.
That was a minute.
I don't know about you, but I am going to be rooting hard for Duke. I, of course, love the Hokies, and I don't like to see good things happen to UVA. I used to when UVA wasn't good, but now they're good, and I don't like it. So
we're not. Yeah, no, and I get that. But look, I'm gambling with this one because at the end of the day, I got to be honest, Kev, with the product the ACC has put out this year, I don't think any teams in the ACC belong in the playoff. I really don't.
It's just your way of writing the universe.
This is my way of we got to have a closed door meeting and just try to figure out how do we do better at recruiting? How do we get Dabo to stop being Dabo? How do we stop hiring ex-NFL coaches with their cheerleading girlfriends to come spy on all the games and all that fun stuff? So yeah, this is my ultimate accountability. Duke winning is how this happens. I want them to win the game. I'm not going to take them at the money line though. But yeah, I'm pretty confident in this one just for the memes. Okay, we're going to get on to the last game, which is going to be an amazing one in a second. But for all you guys just watching for this ACC championship game, remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. And, if you guys like college basketball as well, me and Kev are going to be talking about that. We haven't figured out what exactly the consistency is going to be of the 8 of those episodes, or the cadence. That was the word I was looking for. My brain just stalled. But yeah, keep joining this community that we are building. And by community, I mean mostly our family and friends from college who watch right now. Hi, Mom. Okay.
Way to pander to the Duke and UVA fans who might be watching by saying we're also going to cover basketball. So yeah, that's a nice little.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I share sentiments. Thank you, guys. Next
of course,
game, please.
Kev, I didn't even write down notes for this one. I am just so excited, man. I'm trying to think, when was the last time that we had this Big Ten championship matchup and it was the number 1 and number 2 team both undefeated with pretty aggressive schedules? I can't remember it.
We've had Ohio State, Michigan playing the week before as 1 and 2, and that kind of being
right.
De facto Big Ten championship, but yeah, I'm not sure. I will say, I don't think both these teams have necessarily gone through the ringer in the Big Ten.
I'm glad you caught that. I'm glad you caught that.
Sorry, I just want to correct that. But even regardless, this is it. If this game ends up being a blowout for Ohio State, I'm going to be shaking mad because of like
Yeah.
it will be so frustrating just as a fan. I'll have to tip my hat to Ohio State if they end up just smothering
Right.
Indiana's offense, if they just throw a wrench in their spokes. But man, I don't think so. I think this could be a classic. This could be an
Yeah,
all
this could
time.
be. And look, dude, here's what I'm going to get into. Ryan Day is riding high right now after getting that Michigan bug off his back. Signetti's going to show up to this game ready to play gritty ball, man. He's going to be putting pressure on Sayin in the trenches on the defensive line that he has not experienced up to this point. Like, just looking at their resumes, I mean, we can look at who Indiana has beaten this year. You got games like Illinois. You got games like Iowa. You got that Oregon victory. They're beating good teams. Meanwhile, let's go over and look at Ohio State. Yeah, they got Illinois on there. And the Texas game, it happened, right? And Texas has shown marginal improvement. But strength of a schedule, I think you got to tip your hat leaning more towards the Hoosiers this season. We got that one transitive property there. I'm looking at week 7 and week 4, Illinois, one of these teams. Oh, do you remember us going into that thinking that Illinois was going to keep it close, and then it was just like
Illinois, yeah.
oh my God, that was a blowout, and Sig just did not stop. And that's the kind of like just diehard mentality. Like I can only think of a growling noise as the way to describe it is what Signetti's going to bring to the table here. Look me up. I win. Direct quote from the guy. I am riding so high on Indiana, especially from a gambling perspective. After Ohio State got that dub last week, I think they come back down to earth before the playoffs start. And do you have anything? I mean, people know what I'm going to pick, but do you have anything to add?
I'm just going to say two things. So, one, all three of these games on the slide here are transitive, so you can see how they played against Illinois, Penn State,
Oh, good
and
looks.
Purdue.
Good looks.
Then the only other thing, this is not relevant, but so we covered the Ohio State Illinois game in week 7. Ohio State's completion percentage in week 7 was 77.78%. Do you know what their completion percentage is heading into this game?
I'm going to guess 63.
77.78%. It hasn't
Damn.
changed even a decimal since week 7. I was like, what the heck? Anyway, to get to the because this is one that you don't need to hear us go on and on about. It's going to be
Right.
it doesn't need an introduction. We're
We
both
talked about it. We're both
nervous.
pulling for the dogs here. And look, I mean, I think they have it better. I just think they're a better team. I really, truly do believe that. I think, Ohio State has more it players, so to speak. You can name a lot more. Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Bo Jackson. Like, I can name Omar Cooper and the Mendoza brothers from Indiana. You know what I mean? But that being said, as my personal experience as an Eagles fan, when we won our first Super Bowl in 2018, there weren't a lot of like grabbing your attention players, but it was the most complete roster. And that's what I think Indiana has right now. I'm not saying that they're going to win the game. I don't know that for a fact. But I do think they cover, and I do think that this is a dogfight till the end.
I certainly hope so.
All right.
I'm very excited for it.
All right. Well, folks, that's our last game of coverage for the day. We're going to move on to our vibe checks and the special treat that Kev cooked up. But if you just tuned in for the Big Ten championship game, remember to like and subscribe. I'm not going to do the whole spiel again because I'm tired of saying it, but we're going to be talking about college basketball pretty soon, and we'd love to get you guys involved in that as well. So please remember to like and subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and comment whatever teams you guys want us to talk about. All right. We talked about a lot of games, and man, the best part of championship week, in my opinion, especially when you got games like this where most of them are pretty close spreads, is you can zone in on each of them. You know what I mean? It's not like where you have to have the 4 screens up or anything like that. You can really analyze the games as they're going on here. So I'm excited about that. Kev, anything to add before we get into your family reunion? is what I can
Yeah,
call it.
only thing I'll note, and Tyler, dude, I'm moving on Saturday, so it could not have picked a worse day to move.
Ah,
But
we're
if
about to be neighbors.
everything goes well, we will probably be done by about 4. So I might have to scoreboard watch the BYU Texas Tech game.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the
And I'm going to be doing a Christmas bar crawl, so I'll make sure I'm at a place that has a TV, and and I'll make sure to pace myself responsibly so that way I'm not in like the Santa ho 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 mood and not paying attention to football. All right.
let's get to so I asked around the block actually 4 p.m. today. I sent out the text to some friends and family see if they wanted to make a quick pick. Told them they had to get it in by 5:30, and I mean
This is amazing.
I was very happy how many people responded. So yeah, I just color coded it so you can see the greens are the underdogs winning. Tulane, extremely popular pick.
Yeah.
You'll note JMU across the board, and this is just money line, by the way. We're not doing covering the spread. I just wanted to
Oh,
get
okay.
an idea of who they think is going to win. You can see, I was surprised of all these Virginia Tech fans. There were only 2 people who picked Duke. Shout out Andrew. Shout out my dad. But yeah, and Indiana,
Dale.
only Carly picked
Yeah.
Indiana to win. People are impressed by Ohio State,
Ooh.
BYU, Wyatt. We'll see if that works out. But yeah, are you surprised by the Tulane love?
Not really. I think Tulane's a sexier program on paper.
Are you surprised by it, considering there were only 2 people picking Alabama? I think that's what kind of surprised me.
Who are the 2 people? Jack, not knowing, but knowing these people, no, I'm not surprised.
True. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is a lot of people in this group of 8 that really despise Alabama. So,
Yep.
yeah, this just we'll see who was right in this. I guess if we had to go down the line, we're both picking JMU. We're both picking
Right.
Tulane. I'm still probably picking Texas Tech. Alabama, Georgia, we're split on. We're both picking Duke.
Wait, you're
And
still
then,
probably picking Texas Tech. You picked BYU.
no, but I'm saying who do I think is
Oh,
going to
money line. I got you. I got
I'm
you.
going through. Yeah. And then I guess we're rooting for Indiana. I think if I had to put, just because I want them to win so bad, I would take Indiana money
You know
line
what? Me
if
too.
I was
Me
at this
too.
table.
Yeah.
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 So our 2
Me too.
upsets of the day, Indiana, Tulane, and then we're kind of split on Alabama, Georgia, I guess, if we were
Yeah.
picking money line here. Yeah.
Well, we both went Duke too. So
Oh yeah, Duke as well. Yeah.
yeah.
Shout
All
out.
right.
All right,
All right.
folks.
Let's get.
We still got a parlay coming up.
Yeah,
It
we
ain't
do.
over till it's over.
That's right. We keep grinding. Okay. Coward, go.
Yeah, check out. I actually edited your third bullet point, and you didn't catch it. So just read that as I'm going through.
That's the
So
underdog pick. No, I did catch it, and I left it in there because I'm not a coward. Go.
I'm a coward. Oh yeah, whatever.
I left you writing I'm a coward in there because I'm not a coward.
Miami, Ohio beats Western Michigan. Are they the favorite?
No,
Or
they're
are
the
they underdog?
dogs. So I don't even know how that would make me a coward, but okay,
Oh,
go
you're
off.
right. You're right. Whatever. Anyhow, so yeah, we're both picking Kennesaw State to do well in the
Yep.
Conference USA championship game. They had a very
Cover,
impressive win
not
last
money
week.
line.
Um, who'd they beat last week? It was
It was somebody good, I remember. Hold on. I'll look that up while you
okay.
keep going
Then
over
I'll keep
yours.
going. So Mountain West, Tyler and I we weren't super high on this Boise State team, but this our dynasty of a show started by us picking Boise State, then recording the
Yep.
second part of our video, and seeing that Boise State was already getting whooped by USF. But they have put together a good second half of the season. I think save a loss to Notre Dame where they got spanked. They find themselves in the Mountain West Championship game against UNLV. We both have. Oh, let's see. Okay, so we kind of differ here. Maybe, maybe I guess Tyler thinks. Do you think UNLV is going to win, or are you just thinking they cover?
I'm just thinking they cover, and yeah, maybe that's a little bit of buyer's remorse from us taking Boise State at the beginning of the year. But I also do know that UNLV has had, at one point they had playoff hopes in this season. So I like them to cover. I hope it's a good game, but I'll be honest with you, I don't have the biggest grasp on these three games as I do in the other ones. So I'm just hoping for chaos. And, I've heard good things about Kennesaw State, so that's why I picked them. The Miami, Ohio beating Western Michigan, that's just a completely shot in the dark. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I feel like last year Miami, Ohio lost to Cincinnati in
I
the MAC.
Wait, why would
But
it
I
be
do.
Cincinnati? Cincinnati's in the Big 12.
Maybe it was 2 years ago. No,
Before, no, that would have been like 24 or something like that. Um,
I
it
think
was,
Miami,
oh,
Ohio lost in their
it
conference
was,
championship
and
game.
last week, Kennesaw State, it was a double overtime to our favorite Virginia school. Guess who it was?
ODU
No.
for uh, um,
The one that Harrison Butker went and preached the truth at.
Liberty, Liberty, Liberty.
Liberty, Liberty. Yeah, no, that was at a Liberty game. Bonus. Why don't you talk about your bonus while I pull up Jared's pick because that's last week's pick of his.
Oh, okay, yeah. So my bonus, again, rough week for me to move, but there's a UFC pay-per-view, last UFC pay-per-view ever because UFC's moving to Paramount Plus January 1st. On
Oh, I
pay-per-views.
didn't know
I'm
that.
very excited about that. Brandon Moreno, I think he gets the win. They're about even against Tatsuro Taira, and I think this will propel him to a title fight,
Awesome.
either in his next one or. And so before I give you your bonus pick, I just want to say that Miami was in the MAC championship last year against not Cincinnati, but another team from Ohio. That's why I got confused. Ohio Bobcats. They lost to Ohio 38-3 in the MAC championship game last year. The year before, though, they won the MAC championship against Toledo. So this is their third straight year playing in the MAC championship. Just to go back to mine, Tyler's third pick there. Yeah, sorry. What do you got for you got some college basketball there? I see.
Yeah, little college basketball getting started, and I'm kind of battling a throat thing in case that wasn't clear. UCLA money line against Washington. That's actually happening right now. I'm gonna look it up. Probably put it on after we're done here. Yeah, I just UCLA is a blue blood in it. This is me dipping my toes into the water, so to speak. Jared's pick was actually John Mechie III, over 38.5 receiving yards for this Sunday when the Miami Dolphins are playing in East Rutherford against the Jets. He hit last week again, so I think he's like 10-2 right now or something crazy like that. It's amazing.
He's got a record that could get him into college football playoffs. Only other thing I'll note on college basketball, Hokies got a big win over South Carolina last night. Last night, the ACC ran the table in the ACC SEC Challenge. They won 7 out of 10 games. The SEC is making it a little closer though tonight. I think it's now 7-6, and there's 4 more games playing out right now. Yeah, to decide the challenge. And UVA's up big on Texas. Mississippi State's beating Georgia Tech by 9. Auburn's beating NC State by 6. And Vanderbilt and SMU are close. So ACC might, I believe last year they only won 2 games in the ACC SEC Challenge. So could be
Let's
good
hope that.
for.
Yeah,
And
we need
what's good
that.
for the goose
We
is
need
good
it.
for the panther. What's good for the moose is good for its antlers. The
All right,
Hokies in a stronger ACC, better for Hokies. Let's go Hokies.
let's go. All right. Kev, any final thoughts?
This was a long one, but Tyler,
This was a long one.
thank you for navigating with me. I think
Of course.
these are some very exciting games that we got coming up.
So
I
excited.
think I'm going to use it as a nice supplement to my move to keep me locked in. So thank
All
you
right,
all.
folks. Remember to like and subscribe. Kev, I'm cutting you off because I feel like I'm going to hurl here. Remember to like and subscribe, folks. Thank you guys for tuning in. Can't wait to see y'all when bowl games and the playoffs get started. Peace.